How's it going, everyone? Hope everyone's having a good evening. Had a good weekend so far. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is the Sunday Scan, April 30th. We are live. Hoping to conclude this at about 9 o'clock this evening. I don't know that we'll use the full hour, but I want to go through the watch list that I'm going to have for you guys this week, and then I'd like for you guys to bring some potential charts that we can watch. I know last week we did that, 2 weeks ago we did that, and it went relatively well. So I'd like to do that again this week to give you guys an opportunity to bring some charts to the table here for the Sunday Scan so we can take a look at those. Hey, what's up, Josh? What's going on? Jesse, hope everyone is having a good evening. Great to be with you guys again. First Sunday Scan for me live for a while, so it's really good to get back on with you guys live and take a look at some setups. It's one of the highlights of my week doing this. I feel like I learn a lot, and hopefully you guys learn a lot as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's kick it off. Let's get started. So first thing I want to talk to you guys about this week, all eyes are going to be on Apple. Let's go ahead and jump into Apple. All eyes are going to be on Apple this week. Here is the Apple chart. This is the daily chart on Apple. As you can see, really crazy moves on Apple once we broke out of this resistance here. So we had a symmetrical triangle, right? We had a trend line up, and then we broke out over horizontal resistance, and we've since broken out up and above. You guys can see that I have drawn a resistance, right? A horizontal resistance line kind of here. We have broken out over that with some volume. So the next price target I am looking for is going to be 175 on Apple. I do think that we get that in anticipation of earnings, unless there is some type of crazy event that happens this week. Now, keep in mind that Jay Powell is going to be speaking this week. That could change and alter our plans, but so far, so good. It looks like 175 is the next stop on Apple based on this chart here. Once we kind of clear, we're kind of sitting right here, right? We're sitting at this 170 area. I think the high on the high on Friday was 169.85. So if we can clear 170, it does look like 171 is going to be the next target, and then 175 is going to be the target up above. So I am looking for 175. I've been talking about QQQ to 330 for a while. I do think that if Apple grabs this 175, I think QQQ makes that push towards 325, 330. But again, all eyes are going to be on Apple. We can actually extend this line here. As you can see, it's kind of, it's straight vertical, right? Now, we've done this before, right? So if we draw a similar line here, Apple's done this before where it's gone straight vertical and then it's fallen out of that, right? So this isn't the first time that we've done this. So something to watch here, just as we go into earnings on Thursday with Apple. I think the big thing with earnings on Apple, it's all going to be around India, in my opinion. That's kind of like the macro thesis that I'm kind of looking at here on Apple. We had Foxconn China issues months ago. We talked about we had holiday problems around the Christmas holiday that we talked about. Everything is screaming kind of bearish for Apple, and it's actually lining up perfectly. We always talk about the fact that they drop news headlines at like the perfect levels. If there ever was a time to drop some bearish news on Apple, it's probably going to be right here at this 175 level, right? The same place that they dropped the supply issues before on us on Apple, and we fell hard. It's not a coincidence how they do this and how they set things up. So the growth in India though could offset kind of the China issue as it pertains to Apple, and the thought behind that, right, is that India has kind of been a catalyst, if you will, is the right word that you could think about. The growth in India from software DevOps, software engineers, things like that. Like, I think on the earnings call, we'll have to listen into Apple, but I think there's going to be some talk on India, the expansion and the growth in the India market. And that could offset any type of bearish news that comes out of China, any type of production news that comes out of the U.S. in terms of the Apple earnings call. It's going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting to see if Apple mentions AI in their earnings call at all. That's been one of the themes that I've been trying to see if like a lot of these companies have been mentioning within their earnings call, talking about AI. It'll be interesting to see if Apple talks about AI or not, but just know that 170 is a key spot for me on Apple, and then over 170, as you can see here, we don't have a lot of room until we get up to this 175 area, which I've marked here. 174.18 is specifically the level that I've marked on the daily time frame. I think 175, is kind of that psych number that we could make a push to. So, with that being said, all eyes are on Apple this week. That is the stock that everyone's going to be watching into Thursday market close. Friday, that is the potential for us to flush the Apple play. Keep in mind, the last 2 times that we have flushed Apple, they have been absolute face rippers on Friday. They have been within the implied move Friday at open. We have bought calls on Apple. The last 2 earnings plays in the last 2 Fridays that Apple has reported earnings, those calls went about 1,500% intraday. I don't want to say that that's going to happen again this Friday, but I just want everyone to realize that like you don't have to gamble on earnings, because at the end of the day, you have a 1 in 3 shot at making earnings predictions. You can either get the move right, you can get the move wrong, or you can get the move right and it doesn't move in your favor, right? So you have a 33% chance of winning the play into earnings. Take a look at the earnings calendar just so you guys know. We have a lot of earnings coming up this week. Let me actually go to the calendar and just pull it up for you guys so you can see specifically what we have. Let me move this screen down here. All right, so you guys can see here on the earnings calendar, we have SoFi tomorrow before market open. This is going to be one that I'm going to be watching for a potential flush tomorrow before market open. We'll take a look at the implied move tomorrow. It'll be on my pre-market watch list, I'm sure. That's one that I'm going to watch tomorrow pre-market. Tuesday before market opens, I'm going to be watching Uber and Pfizer. These are the 2 that I will be watching prior to the market opening. And then after close on Tuesday, we do have AMD and we have Starbucks. Those are the 2 that I probably will watch, AMD and Starbucks. Wednesday before market open, we have CVS. After close, we have Qualcomm. So this could be an interesting one. Qualcomm and Etsy are the 2 that I'm going to watch on Wednesday after close, Etsy and Qualcomm. Thursday before market open, Datadog, DDog, and mRNA. Also RCL and Peloton. So Thursday before market open, there's actually 4 that I really like, right? Peloton, RCL, mRNA, and DDog. And then after close on Thursday, the ones that I'm really, really looking forward to are Apple. I'm looking forward to Coinbase, looking forward to DraftKings, and I'm looking forward to Lyft. Carvana is interesting to me. It's a wild card because we do have a massive short float on Carvana, but really Apple, I'd say in order, Apple, Coinbase, Shopify, DraftKings, and Lyft is what I'll be looking at on Thursday. So I think Friday we'll have a very, very good opportunity to flush some plays. But all week long, guys, we're going to have opportunity to flush some of these, the Ivy flush play. If you guys aren't familiar with that, we will talk about this tomorrow at market open. Essentially, the way the Ivy flush play works is that as long as a stock stays within its implied move, going into a binary event, the premiums get crushed on either side. For example, for SoFi, if the implied move out of the earnings released tomorrow is, let's say, 10%, and SoFi only moves 2% positive, we can flush the calls or the puts tomorrow because they're both going to be decimated in value. The way we do that is we find the opening volume, we find the opening move, and we play that opening drive, and that's how we play that. So, needless to say, we have a great opportunity this week with earnings plays. I think we could flush a lot of names this week, so all of these names will be on watch for me this week. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at QQQ. So QQQ is a name that I actually swung some calls into next week on. I swung some 330s expiring, I think, on Wednesday. I think is when these expire. May 2nd, 330 expiration on QQQ. You guys can see here that I've talked about this range for, it's been a while, right? It's been all the way back since the beginning of April. We've talked about this range. This is the real range here that we've kind of talked about. Now, I know we had like a drop down at this range, and that was a nice intraday move on QQQ, but it rebounded thanks in part to some of the big tech earnings last week. And you can see now that we're actually breaking out on QQQ. So the next levels up on QQQ that I see are 326.64 and 331.09. Hence why I swung the 330s last week, right? We closed after hours at 322.83. I'm curious to see where we push tomorrow at market open. You know, we could open back up in this range. We could open up and we could push towards that 326.64. The 330s are what I took because I think if we do push and we take this 326.64, 330 comes very quickly after that. And I think 330 is where we could probably get a smack back down. And it could line up that we get an earnings run up on Apple all the way into Thursday, all the way up to 330. Apple reports, Apple doesn't do well, and we sell off all the way back down. But this is what I'm looking at. You guys can see here, this is the daily chart on QQQ. We still have a lot of room to go, right? Now, if QQQ wants to break out over 330, then we can talk about bigger price targets, right, of 347, 348, 350, all the way up here to potentially the 370 area. Okay, now this is what we'll talk about if we break out over 330, but for now, price targets remain at 326.64 and 331.09, or the 330 area on QQQ. We talked about it for the last few weeks, this being kind of like a flat top resistance. I think Darth Trader talked about it a lot. I've been hounding on this 330 target for the last month. I feel like the whole month of April, I've talked about 330 on QQQ. I'm hoping that we get it so that it doesn't make me look like, fool by saying 330. But we talked about this wedge breakout. As soon as we broke out of the wedge, we kind of broke out up here. We grabbed that 322.56 area and then we consolidated. Now we're breaking out of the consolidation. You guys know what I say about consolidation. Typically, when we break out of consolidation, it's like a game of tug of war being played. Buyers and sellers are on each side of the rope. When one side lets go, the other side goes flying. So in this instance, I'm thinking what happens here is that the sellers have let go and the buyers are going to send us flying all the way to 330. That's what I'm looking for. Now let's take a look at SPY. SPY has been a little bit more, I'd say a little bit weaker than the tech sector, right? So for SPY, what I'm looking at here is we actually have a 415.84 is the daily close. We actually closed after hours at 416.18. SPY looks very, 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 very good for a move up into the 420 area, at least 4,200 on ES. We've talked about that before. 420 on SPY, all the way up to potentially the 425 area, right? That's going to be my upside target here on SPY is going to be 425. Now I'll go ahead and put a horizontal line here. You guys know I like to draw my levels based on the candles themselves, not the wicks. So I put it right here on this candle wick here on the August 16th level. So we are pushing on SPY. For a while, everyone talked about this downtrend, and I'll show you real quick. Sorry for all the levels that I have on SPY. I haven't taken them off yet, but everyone talked about this downtrend, right? We had this downtrend where we finally broke out of it. Now we're breaking up. I don't know what's going to happen with the market, guys. I really don't care what happens with the market. If we push to 500, if we fall all the way to 300, I don't care. As a day trader, my job is to trade the volatility intraday, right? It doesn't matter what's happening in the macroeconomic setting as day traders. We really don't care. We're really concerned with what's happening from our 15 and 5 and 30-minute intraday levels. That's what we're concerned about. Okay, so you guys should know, for me, over 417.55, 424.34 is my next target, right? So let's say tomorrow we gap up and we hold 417.55. It might not be a bad idea to actually take Friday calls, let's say 425 calls on SPY, and actually swing those calls, because this could be a pretty quick move. This could be a move that these go in the money within 2 or 3 days in the week, and now you have 2 days to expiration. You're already in the money on the 425 calls. Okay, going into Apple earnings, and then you can shave some and maybe have some, scale and trails is the way we do it. So that's kind of what I'm watching on SPY, guys. You guys see the levels here. You see what I'm looking at. It's not rocket science. Let's take a look at what did we get on 415.72 was the close on April 18th. 415.94. So this is the highest daily candle close that we've had on Friday since going back to, actually, you got to go all the way back to August 12th of 2022 to get a candle closed as high as what we've got. Okay. Okay, so SPY, things are setting up nicely for SPY. Okay, now let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a name that we played at the end of the day last week. We tailed some whales on this one. This one's looking great. This one is, I'm really excited about NVIDIA. I swung this one. I'm really excited about this one. If you look, right, the whale took this week $600,000 worth of 290 calls on NVIDIA, okay? Now, the same way we talked about a distribution channel here, let's talk about it again on NVIDIA, right? Distribution channel, but we have, we have some volume, and we closed up at 277.93. Now, if we can break over 281.10, the next spot for me on QQQ is going to be this next level right here, 289.32. And the whale probably thought the exact same thing, right? Because this is where we went to last time. We were here and we rejected all the way back down, right? 290 all the way down to 160. Massive, massive move there, right? 50% drop. So we are getting overextended, right? We are pushing up. We pushed up, we pulled back, we pushed up, we pulled back, push up. But this is a pretty vertical push up. Now we're consolidating, and so now I'm looking for a breakout here, right? So I did swing the 290 calls with that whale. They took 290s for next week, expiring this coming Friday. They bought about $600,000 worth of 290 calls at about $90 a contract. I was able to get them for about $80 a contract. So I watched the whale, I tailed the whale, but I got a better average. And so these are up currently, let me look, 30% right now as of close on Friday. So if we gap up tomorrow, these could be up pretty healthy, right? And I might scale a few, and then I might scale and trail a few as we push our way towards that 290 level, because I think that is the next level. If we can bounce up past 281.10, which is the high right here on April 18th, I think we make that move up towards 289.32. So that is going to be a level that I'm watching. Okay. Now the next chart I want to talk to you guys about is flow. Okay. Now this is the daily chart on flow. I want to show you guys kind of a pattern here that is seemingly setting up on flow on the daily chart, okay? So we talk a lot about wedges. We talk a lot about price consolidation. This is a perfect example right here of wedges and price consolidation, okay? So let's take a look. There, and then let's throw this guy right in here. There we go. And we can just start this right here actually and pull this guy back. I'll pull this guy back a little bit. Here we go. So this is a name, right? Flow. Flower Foods Inc. Shout out FS Trades on this one. This is a trade that we have expansion, consolidation, right? Consolidation into a potential big move. Now, we did close up over this, right? We closed up over this on Friday. Now I'm looking for, we closed right at 27.51. This is a move that if we get up over this 27.80, if we get over Friday's high, and I'll just put a line here instead of putting, I'll just put it like this. There we go. If we get up over Friday's high, then I see the potential for us to move all the way up here to this level here, right? This level. We'll just put it in here. There we go. So we've got multiple levels for us to play off of, right? Like we've got that first level, then we've got really this level here is like the next level that I'd say we should play to. Okay. So for me, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to watch flow tomorrow on Monday. But what I'm going to do is set a price target here, right? I'm going to set an alert at 27.75 because this level that I have here, the high on Friday, is 27.80, right? So let's set it at 27.70. How about that? Create an alert at 27.70. And I want to know when price gets above 27.70 because, right? So I save that. The alert's on. Because if we break up over Friday's high, I think we have a pretty nice move all the way up to, let's see, this candle opened at, or this candle closed at 28.38, right? 28.38 is the next level that I think we could get to on flow. And then above 28.38, really I see, what is this, 29.16? So the $30 calls might make sense. $28 calls might make sense. We'll take a look and see what makes sense moving up here. But Flow is a name that I really like. And, again, shout out FS Trades on this one. We'll take a look at that and see what makes sense. Okay. Now, the next one I want to talk about that we actually played on Friday, and I alerted this on Friday to the gang. This one is Lyft, right? Take a look at this trade, okay? On Friday, let's take a look at the 5-minute. So Friday, when we finally broke out over, this level here. I think I'm not sure what time I grabbed these at. But this is the 5-minute chart, okay? Now this level here, the 1058 level, is a massive level. When I saw us wick down here, I think I got into these right at around 1058, and they went all the way to 1066. We only got, this is the power of options too, guys, on 0-day options. 1058 to 1066. We got an 8-cent move, but the premiums went over 50%. Just because we got a breakout here, right? And we pushed towards high of day. I think I was in the 10.5s too, so I was in the money calls. I was playing in the money options. 50% trade on those premiums on the 10.5s for the same week. Okay, now if we had pushed over 1058, we got a daily candle close over, I would have swung next week's contracts in, because the next level that I have, on Lyft, it's 1152. Okay. So, with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this price alert set here, but I'm also going to keep this price alert. I'm actually going to move this price alert up here. I'm going to set this at $10. You might say, Strat, why $10 or why $10. Why $10? Well, if we break out under this rising, whatever you want to call this, right? This is a triangle. This is a flat top with the trend line up. Okay, we're trending. We've got a little bit of buyer exhaustion here, but we don't have a massive uptrend if you look at Lyft. Okay, it's not a huge uptrend, but we do have range expansion into consolidation. Okay, we got a big wick here. That small, tiny wick gave us a 50% gain on premiums, though, and that's where I keep telling about actionable setups in Q2. That's an actionable setup on a 5-minute time frame. It doesn't look like nothing it doesn't look like anything actually on the daily, but on the 5-minute, that small wick, 50% move on the premiums. Okay, so on the daily time frame, if we get a daily close over 1058 on Lyft, I'm looking for a move up to 1152, and then over 1152, it's game on, right? 1152 break, we're game on all the way up. We've got room all the way up to the 15s on Lyft, okay? So just keep in mind that this is an actionable setup. If we break down on this, because we haven't got, look, bounce. We haven't gotten a daily candle close under this trend line. If we get a daily candle close under this trend line, then we have targets to play down on, right? We've got to bounce here. $8.88. Then we can bounce here at $8.28. Okay, I don't know that we'll go any lower than $8.28. That's pretty low on Lyft, but we can play up or down. So you guys see here, I have my price target set, $10.58 and $10. My price targets are set, so this is a trade that is going to work for me when it's ready to work this week. I'm not going to sit here and stress about Lyft. I'll get a price alert when it happens, or someone like Vinny will tag me in the Discord and say, hey, Lyft is going, take a look at it. Shout out to Vinny, because I was able to get 50% for Vinny because my alerts apparently didn't go off when I wanted them to on Friday. So this is Lyft. I do like Lyft, and really looking forward to this play because I think this is going to be a big move for us. We also have earnings this week, so just keep that in mind. We could get a directional break up or down going into earnings. Now, the next trade I want to look at is Home Depot. Okay, Home Depot actually closed very, very nicely on Friday at $300.54 right here. I'm still looking for a daily candle close over this level here on Lyft. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on 301.66, a daily candle close over 301.66. I will likely swing weeklies or 2 weeks to expiration. Home Depot 310 calls, because I think we make that move up to 308 on the next bump if we get over 301.66 on the daily candle close. Okay, now you can see there is some volume that did increase here, but it's no coincidence that the volume increased when we got to the 300 psych level. Okay, and that's what this purple line is here. This is a 300 psych level. Home Depot is looking very good for a move up over that 301.66. Okay. Next name I want to talk about is Mara. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Okay. Now, Bitcoin is a name that we missed this trade, guys, or at least me personally, I missed it. We talked about this trade for a while. You can see the yellow boxes, right? We talked about the fact that we were inside of this consolidation in this box, right? We said, you know, when we fell down here, we came up, we up here, down here, we pushed up, we held, we pushed up, held here, and then we finally broke out. And I said, I was very, very distinct. I said, if we break over 918 on Mara, I'm looking for a move to near $13.18. Well, what happened? Once we broke out, it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, and we got to move to 1283. Okay. So a $3 move, we got a 30% move on the underlying, guys, once we broke out over 918 in 6 days. 30% on the stock in 6 days. These are the things that I wish I knew when I first started trading pennies and I first started trading commons. Before I learned options, I didn't even know how to look at the charts like this, right? But had I have known this, I could have bought this here. I could have bought commons at 918, and I could have flipped them for 30% 6 days later, right? So throw $10,000 in, and you're sitting on $13,000 6 days later. That's the kind of things that that charts, support and resistance, simple levels can teach you as you guys are looking to, you know, build your repertoire, you know, for trading. So Mara is a trade that I'm also looking at here, because I think if we come down and hold this 918, I think we can bounce off of this and push our way up. Okay, because you guys see what happens before, right? You know, bounce at 918, push back up to 13, bounce at 918, push back up to 13, push all the way up to 1418 actually. So as long as we hold this, but again, if we lose 1918, then we know that this is going to be a great move down. So what I'm going to do is actually set an alert here at 938. Below 938. There we go. So I've set my alert. Okay. Last one I'll look at real quick from my chart perspective is AMD. This is a name that, I mean, we talked about this on late last week. We talked about it on Monday of last week, I think, as well. A break of 88 leads to a move down to $83 pretty quickly. Well, what happened here? If we go back on the 15-minute chart, let's go back. Here's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Okay. We break down through 88. We move all the way down to 86.36. Now, it did catch a bid here at 86.36. I'm going to put a level here just to see how this played out the rest of the week. On the 15, I just want to put a level there. My levels really were 88.05 and then down to 83.82. Had you have swung as soon as we broke down underneath this level, you would have seen a little bit, you know, we saw a little bit of drawdown here once you were in profits, and then we fell down the next day on Tuesday. But we did end up bouncing to 83.82, right? The next day we come up, you know, and then you can see here how this 86.37 level, you know, reacted. You know, we came down, we rejected, we pushed up, rejected, came down, pushed all the way up to this level, held this level twice on the 15, and then pushed all the way up to 88. Came down again, kind of wicked down near this level, and then pushed back up. So this level will stay on my chart. 90.50 is the next level up on AMD that I have. Let me turn off the extended just so you guys, your eyes aren't hurting. Over 90.50, guys, you guys can see I've got levels all the way up to 96.08 is the next level that I see from a larger time frame perspective. Now, yes, there's going to be more 15-minute levels within this kind of $6 range here, $5.50 range, and we will add those throughout the week as we see them. But from a daily time frame perspective, this is the level that I'm looking at here, is 96.06. And again, swing traders make their money on high-quality daily setups. Here's a wedge on AMD. We break out over the top of this wedge, Within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, guys, we're all the way up at $87 from 81 in 7 days. If the swing trader were to hold, or if they were to add when we came back down here to the $79 level on March 13th, we hit 102 on March 23rd, so 10 days later. So a $30 move within 10 days, okay? Again, here's another wedge. Price consolidation, right? Getting consolidated. We break out underneath of this. We come back up, we retest it, and then we fall all the way down to 83 from the $96 level. So again, swing traders make their money on high quality, actionable daily setups, A-plus setups. And that's what I want to kind of hit with you guys, is hitting these A-plus setups day in and day out. I think on Friday we were 5 for 6 on the trades. I did 19% on the accounts. It was my biggest day of the month was April, right? It was massive, a massive way to end April. And it was just because we were able to find those actionable setups that we can repeat every single day when we find those trades. And so we're going to do the same thing in May. We're going to find those trades, we're going to hit those trades, and then we're going to be done. There's no need to do anything different than what we've done. Okay, so those are the charts that I have for you guys. Let's see what we have here. So we've got Sunil wants to look at Riot. Let's take a look at Riot, Sunil. We took a look at Mara. Let's take a look at Riot, see what we got. Riot, interesting chart, right? Just from the onset. Right, let me see. One thing that I see here. I see some price consolidation. Right? I see this. Which undoubtedly looks like price consolidation on Riot. Okay, now we need to see what Riot does here, but if Riot breaks out from this level, which let's go ahead and put an alert here. I kind of like this, Sunil. I appreciate the view on this. 1236 to be my alert on Riot. If I get alert on Riot that goes off at 1236, I'm gonna know that this is probably picking up some steam. Now Riot also has a pretty high. Actually, let me bring this down and show you guys. Riot has. Let's look at the command. Let's take a look at Riot and see what we got. $20.66 short float on Riot. Okay, so about 20% short on Riot, which is interesting. Okay, so good looks, Sunil, on that. If this breaks out over this, shorts could start to cover. Really, the key level for me here on Riot is truly going to be like the 1210 area. I'm going to change this level just a little bit because I don't want to miss that. I'm going to change it to 1216. Riot's a name, guys, that can move massively if we get volume, right? Back on April 10th, it moved 8.8%. April, yeah. Interesting. It's a glitch on Webull. There's 2 April 10s. That's interesting. Sorry. So 8.8%, 6%, 15.69%. This is a name that does like to move 9.8%. So if we get some massive volume on Riot early in the day, know that it probably is going to be an all-day runner. So if we get this breakout on Riot, this is a name that I really do like over that level. I appreciate the look on that, Sunil. Let's take a look at Airbnb. Airbnb, okay. A lot of chop here on this chart, to be honest. One of the things, let's take off this falling wedge. One of the things on Airbnb that I'm looking at here, actually, let's take that off too. Take that off. Take this off. I'm actually looking at kind of this setup here. not a lot of price compaction, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say that we could draw like a line this way. We can't really draw anything like that. Interesting setup here. You know, if anything, we kind of have this type of formation happening on the daily. I don't see anything too crazy on the daily. Let's take a look at a different time frame on Airbnb and just see if something sticks out. Sorry, that's the 4 hour. Let's see if something sticks out at me on the daily chart. There's the daily. I mean, we do have some daily resistance here. Again, lining up with this 120.68 area. I think a 120.68 break on Airbnb. I'm going to go ahead and put a price alert on this. 120.24, 120.68 is really the key level for me. We closed at 119.67 and then after hours at 119.55. But if we break out over 120.68, I do see a pretty nice move up into the 123 area as a potential here on Airbnb if we can break out over this level. So I'm going to color this line just a different color, just to give us some color on there. Because I think if we break out over this, we can make our way up to 120, 123, 124, somewhere in there. I'll go ahead and put a line here just because we know it's probably where we could head to. As an upper band target. 120.68 could move up into the 125 area on Airbnb. NVIDIA, we did talk about NVIDIA this evening, so that is earlier in the video. Let's talk about Snowflake though. Snowflake on the daily, not a really big actionable setup for me. We could look. Again, like we could maybe make something happen here, but for me, it's, yeah. Yeah, I don't really see anything happening here on Snowflake from an actionable setup on Snowflake. Someone also asked about Lucid. Let's take a look at Lucid. Not much going on Lucid either. I mean, you could make an argument that like this is the setup that maybe breaks out. But again, nothing crazy for me on actionable setups. Hey guys, sorry, I just saw all of your messages this evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Those are really the setups I'm gonna be watching this week, guys. You know, we kind of went over SPY, we went over QQQ, we went over NVIDIA, we went over Apple, we went over a lot of charts tonight. The only other ones that I'll take a look at real quick are just some other FANG like Microsoft. Microsoft chart is hot on the daily. I said this on Friday. Like, you guys, this thing has room to 313, and if we break 313, Microsoft has room up to 345. If QQQ really wants to run and if Apple pushes, you guys understand like how this daily chart looks. Like, you want to talk about consolidation breaks, like look like imagine how fat these guys are up on Microsoft if they had grab calls here, right? 275 to 308 in 3 trading days. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. That being said, I do think that Microsoft is probably due for some consolidation. So I do think that we could get some consolidation here around the 313 area. So I think we push up to 313 and we consolidate here, just kind of like we did here, right? If we look here, if we put a rectangle in here, we kind of consolidated, right? And then we drop down. So is it possible that we get some, potential consolidation over here? Right? Over here. Potentially, right? Potentially. We could get something that, some consolidation right in here. Okay. I don't know that we're going to get that, but that is kind of the target that I'm looking at just based on what we did in the past, knowing what's going on here. Like, this is a supply zone on Microsoft, and we might consolidate here before we base up higher. But Microsoft Daily does look very, very bullish. It looks very, very good. So Google is the next one, the last one I'll look at. Google, let's take a look at this one. This one, this chart's a little wild. Bear with me here for a second. Let's take this guy out. Let's take this falling wedge out. This happened in the past. Not really concerned about that guy right now. This trend line, we'll keep this trend line in here for now. But you guys see we are in supply on Google. If we do break out over this day's high, right? Let's say this day. What is the high on this one? 58. Let's put a level at 109.60. 109.60 break. Let's make it 55. How about that? 109.55 break on Google sends us to about 116, in my opinion. Based on where we're at in the past, right? Reject, 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 reject. If we break out right here, I think we move to 112 very, very quickly, and then we get 116.22. So this is looking good. Now, keep in mind, we are in supply. We could hit this and then reject, right? Because when we came up to it before, we were here, we rejected. We were here, we rejected, we came all the way down to this trend line. So this trend line could play a pivotal role as well. This is an area that Google could reject from. Now, we do have JPOW this week. We'll have to take a look at that. But this is a chart that I really like for upside as well. A lot of charts this week, guys, have some upside, views to them if you can't tell. Yeah, Sunil, let's do Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin will be the last one we look at. Bitcoin, guys, consolidation, breakout. We got all the way to 31. We didn't get to 31.9. We got to 31. But now we're just kind of hanging out on the daily, right? Let's look at the weekly. What's the weekly look like on Bitcoin? Weekly on Bitcoin is more consolidation, right? Push up, pull down, push up, consolidate, pushing up for potentially 32. Keep in mind that when banks... when people want to move money out of banks, they run to Bitcoin, they run to digital, currency, they run to gold, right? Because cash, quote unquote, doesn't have the same draw that it does when banks are performing very well. So on Bitcoin, really the daily level I'm looking to break here, let's go ahead and mark this level, is going to be 30,549. Okay. A daily candle close over 35.49, I think, brings us up to that 31.9 level, and then again over 31.9. Now we've got a different story. 31.9 break sends us to, let's just call it 35K on Bitcoin. Okay. Now I don't know that we're gonna get that, but we will. We'll play the odds here, and we'll play the we'll react to it. We won't predict. Okay, so breakout over 28.5 sent us to 31K, which is what we were looking for. We rejected the 30.54 level. Now we're kind of sitting in between. We're in no man's land, right? So if we get a breakout over 30.54, Riot could be a great play, and Mara as well, back to the 13 area, Riot back to the $14 or $15 area. Okay, so that's kind of Bitcoin. But that's really all I got for you guys. We've been on for about 45 minutes. That's my levels on a lot of these names. I'm excited to kick off the month of May. Keep in mind, guys, that we still are early into Q2, right? April, May, June is all of Q2. April is historically a very, very good month for the markets. Let's take a look at SPY very quickly as we close this out. Let's look at the monthly time frame. Okay, we were up 1.6% in May, but the monthly, guys, the monthly looks very, very good for a move back to the 470 area. Now I know, it's the monthly time frame. It does look good for a move back to the 425 area. The one thing I'll say in closing is that, if you guys are struggling, if you struggled in Q1, if you're still struggling in Q2, take a little bit of time to self-reflect and understand why you're struggling. Are you struggling because you're being too impatient? Are you not sizing correctly? Do you not have the risk management that's needed to be a successful trader? Again, the term I'll keep using in Q2 is actionable setups only. That's what we're going to take. If it's an actionable setup, we're going to take it. And if it's not, we're going to stay away. Because there's no point in us risking our hard-earned capital on trades that aren't actionable, that don't make sense. Now, if it's an actionable setup and it makes sense, we'll take that trade 10 out of 10 times. But if it's not a setup that we would take 10 out of 10 times, then we're not going to take it on a random Monday in May, or a Tuesday, or a Wednesday, or a Thursday. So just know, guys, that like trading, it's not easy. It's hard. You're going to hit roadblocks, right? You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to hit barriers. It happens. This is part of the process. It always rains before before the sun comes out. So if you're struggling, don't give up. Don't blindly follow anyone's trades, whether it's mine, Darth's, Tom's, B-Trades, anyone else on Twitter, anyone, right? Find your system, find your strategy, lock in on it, and execute it. And if you do that, I promise you guys that you will start to find success. And it's going to be a lot more fulfilling in your eyes to have that success on trades that you're taking. I look at people in the Discord now, and I look at someone like Riley, who spent a whole day on Saturday a few weeks ago watching levels videos that I put together, and then putting together his own levels on names, on 6 specific names. And this past week, he traded those levels, and he traded them beautifully, time after time after time again. And it's a repeatable strategy. And that's what it comes down to with trading, guys. It's a repeatable strategy, actionable setups. And if you do that day in and day out, yes, it's not sexy, it's not great, it's not fun. It can be sometimes boring because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. But consistency breeds success. Every time a professional athlete gets ready for a game, they do the same thing every single time. Every time Tiger Woods gets ready on the driving range before his PGA event, he's doing the same thing every single time. And why are they doing that? Because they've had success in the past doing exactly what they're doing. So they're going to continue to do exactly what they do every single day, day in and day out. Success isn't sexy, guys. It's repetitive in nature, right? The most successful people in business will tell you it's not the most sexiest business. It's not the most sexiest strategy, but it works. So if you just continue to do that day in and day out, it's going to work. Okay, and that's what I got for you guys today. Hopefully these levels helped you guys. Hopefully the watch list kind of helped you guys. I'll have a pre-market huddle watch list tomorrow morning for you guys that we're going to watch tomorrow. There could be some things that pop in pre-market. SoFi might be on that list because we do have the earnings event tomorrow morning. We might be able to play the earnings flush tomorrow on SoFi. But if you guys have any questions at all, make sure you drop those in the chat in Wall Street or in Ask an Admin. I will take a look at those for you guys. I also have some one-on-ones set up this week for some people. So if you're interested in those, drop me a note in Wall Street and then send me a DM, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. I know I have a one-on-one tomorrow around 3 or 4 with a member, but I'm doing those. There's no charge on the one-on-ones, guys. So if you guys want a one-on-one, as long as I have time in my schedule and you can be flexible, because sometimes my schedule does change, I'm happy to do those with you guys when I have the time available. So I hope you guys have a great evening tonight. I will see you guys in pre-market tomorrow. Make sure you're ready to go. Tomorrow is a new month. It's a new P&L. It's a new calendar, guys. So tomorrow, myself, you, and every other trader in the world on Wall Street, in the Discords, on FinTwit, everyone is going to be 0 for 0 starting tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern tomorrow. We've all got the same opportunity and the same chance to do something special in the month of May, and let's make it the best month that we've had yet. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow in pre-market, and I'll see you at 9:15 Eastern. Peace.